everybody. Welcome to the ASKFaris show. Welcome again. Guys, today I have today's guest is Patel. This man right here is a natural-born hustler, entrepreneur, business owner. He's doing some extraordinary things in the automotive industry. So first, I just want to kind of welcome Pat to the show. Pat, tell my guests just a little bit about yourself, a little bit where you come from, kind of how you got started on your entrepreneurial journey, and we're going to start from there.
Well, I started originally with sneakers. I'm 28, so, 10 years ago, you could still make money on sneakers. I started flipping sneakers in high school, and it just kind of grew from there. Cell phones, I saved up my money, and then eventually I went to cars. And cars, I started flipping on Craigslist, or just buying them from people that were broken down, getting them fixed. And I realized I wanted to do it at a more consistent level, for income and stuff. So when I got a broker's license.
Perfect. Okay. Before we delve deep in that, because I know you said you brought up that initially in high school. So have you always been an entrepreneur, like flipping sneakers? So what do you mean flipping sneakers?
I think in middle school, I got in trouble for filling my book bag with candy. And I didn't bring books. I would bring stuff to sell. So I've always just been into selling things so I can buy the things I wanted.
So with that, was your parents entrepreneurs? Like, have you always been around entrepreneurs? That's been something that's just been innate with you.
My dad started at I watched my dad start at low level at companies like Eckerd's and hotels and stuff, and he always worked his way up to manager and then district, and eventually he became vice president of a hotel company. So it's pretty much the same thing, the corporate ladder and being an entrepreneur, being on your own. It's the same field, just different positions.
Wow.
So,
dang, man. And I don't mean to cut off, but one thing I know, and our paths cross, as I said, like definitely in the automotive industry. You've been doing some phenomenal things. You've been helping out other individuals, teaching them the path as well. But before we get there, why cars? Was that something that you were passionate about? Like, were you a mechanic? Like, why cars?
Yeah, it was always. I was into cars myself. When I was 16, I had a 350Z. Then I went to a Benz, and then I had an Infiniti, and I had all three of them at one time. By the time I hit 21, I think. I've naturally been into cars as a consumer, and when they started breaking down, and I had to get them fixed, is when I realized there's money to be made. And, for me, it was just a side hustle in the beginning. It was nothing more than, hey, I see some opportunities. As an entrepreneur, you want to look for opportunities. It might not be something you're versed with, you might know about, but if you see an opportunity and you've got the basic skill set of being an entrepreneur now, you can attack that opportunity and take advantage of it. And that's what happened with cars. I saw opportunities with cars. I knew people who had cars that were broken down, they gave up on them. And I knew where to get cheap cars. I knew, where to sell parts to, all that, just from my experience in life. So, yeah, that's where I saw the opportunity.
Wow. And one thing, I don't know if people picked up this right here, because just like you said, like you were a consumer first. Initially, when we first started, you said and as I know, you're a sneakerhead. So you love sneakers. You were a consumer of sneakers, and you made it a business. You're a consumer of nice cars, and you made it a business. One thing I want people to realize, that if you're a consumer of any type of product or service, that may be your entrepreneurial journey. That may be your opportunity to go through and create a business. Because guess what? If you're a sneakerhead, you probably know everything about sneakers. If you're in love with automotives and cars and everything, you probably know everything about those things. And why not, since you're already a subject matter expert, why not go through and create a business with it? That makes sense to me. That makes a lot of sense to me.
It does. If you have a natural knowledge or passion for something, chances are you're going to find a weakness where someone else is doing it. And being an entrepreneur is doing something better. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of people think they need a big idea. It's got to be something revolutionary. No, you're just doing the same thing. You're just doing the same thing, just doing it better.
Exactly. And that's one thing I like about it, because you actually, in the automotive industry, you put your own twist to it. When we first met, sometimes people think you have to have this large automotive dealership, this large Nissan or this type of dealership. But there's a lot of income being made in certain niches. And one thing that I really love, you found your niche, and you were not afraid to go through and actually stay within your lane, because you knew if you stayed in your sweet spot, bam, like the results were there as well.
Yeah. I sold you a Honda, I believe, a Honda Civic, right?
Yes.
So, for your company, and that's my sweet spot. I pretty much 3 years of experience, I figured out what works for me, and I exploited it, and I scaled it. Like, I know Honda Civics sell, so I target Honda Civics. I know the price point. I know that this price point is going to be in my hands for this long, and I've just created a system, which I flip a car. It doesn't take me more than 21 days. I have a certain price point. I have a certain profit margin. I have certain qualities of the car that I look for, and I stick to my system. It's all about creating a system and making it work for you, and then growing that,
And so when you started creating your system, because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they're just getting started. So how did you just did you go through trial and error with creating your system?
Every mistake I made, I literally learned from it. To this day, I still make mistakes. I have one car that isn't in my system, that does not belong in my system. It was an emotional buy. It was personally, I bought it for me, then I decided I don't want to keep the car. The car hasn't been operating for 3 months, and it's getting fixed to this day. So you definitely make mistakes. You got to learn from it. You got to grow. In any business you do, the first 2 years are survival phase. The next 2 years are being able to stabilize. Then the sixth, and then the next 2 years after that, which is year 5 and 6, you're gonna grow.
Wow. So kind of walk us back, because I think so many times people like I know where you are today, and it's great, but walk us back to those first 2 years. I know, like, I can look back. The reason I'm chuckling right now is because I remember my first couple years in business. I was like, what in the world did I get myself into?
Yeah,
because it was hard. It was very hard.
I remember, didn't have a license. We were using Craigslist, right? We're buying and selling cars off Craigslist, which is highly illegal. And we would have cars that we bought off a person, and that person gave us a duplicate title, and turned around and reported the car stolen. We had cars where, everything looked good, drove good. The moment we got at home, it stopped working. Engine, like just technical problems with cars, mechanical problems that you're going to have. So many things, how to inspect a car, finding out that it was a flood damaged car.
Yes.
All time, just anything and everything that could go wrong.
Went wrong.
But without it going wrong, I wouldn't have created my system, which works for me now.
Wow. And that's the beautiful part about it. Just like I said, you went through a lot of the heartaches and the headaches to going through and having engine failure, having people reporting cars stolen, all that crazy stuff. And you learn from your mistakes, and you were able to go through and document it, to go through and say, you know what, this is what I look for in my ideal car, my ideal customer. These are the things I look for. This is what I don't look for, because you probably can recognize BS from a mile away.
Yeah, definitely.
So you know what you're looking for. And I think that's one thing where a lot of entrepreneurs, they feel like they have to go through and reinvent the wheel. Okay, well, hey, I'm going to be the first to do X, Y, and Z. Not when you have other business owners, not when you have other entrepreneurs who has already paid the price. Once they pay the price, you don't have to go down that path anymore. You just have to tap into the source. Go ahead.
One thing I learned is 1% of people on earth control 99% of the money. The same thing is true in business. 1% of people in the industry control the industry.
Wow.
And that's because that 1% was willing to stick through with it and make the mistakes and lose it all to come back. That 1% is willing to learn from the mistakes. Wow. Most people, after mistake or bad luck or coincidence or whatever you want to call it, they just give up. They're done. It's not for them. And if that's the case, then if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to switch to a new business every 6 months to a year.
Wow.
Be able to stand through.
And that's one thing. Okay, so the stick to and the consistency, that's one thing. I'm not going to take a commercial break. We're going to keep on rolling with this because I like the way this conversation is going. My thing is being consistent.
Mm-hmm.
How important is being consistent to the process? Like instead of, because I know there's so many dangling carrots, so many other opportunities that may come your way, but what actually kept you very consistent on the path of saying, you know what, I'm gonna stick with this. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna be a master of this particular industry. What kept you consistent along the way?
Honestly, it was just, for me, it was natural because I understood the process of what it takes to make a business work before I got into it. I was doing other things that I was mildly successful at.
Mm-hmm.
So I understood as part of the process. Once you really understand that the struggle is part of the process, you're supposed to go through it, it's going to happen, it will happen, and it's just a phase, then you understand you're going to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people get caught up in the emotional day-to-day, and they don't, your character defines what your business is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you procrastinate, if you not organized, all that stuff will become very evident in your business, and you suffer because of it. And I knew who I was as a person, so I knew no matter what, it's going to work. I'm just going to keep going.
Wow. These are just some golden nuggets that you're dropping, man, because my thing is, people, when it comes to, everyone wants to own a business. Everyone wants the high life. Everyone wants the beautiful parts that actually come from actually owning the business and having that freedom. But it's a price that has to be paid. You have to be willing to be persistent. You have to be willing to go through the nose. You have to be willing to invest in yourself. A lot of sacrifice have been made along the way. Because I guarantee you probably missed some birthdays and probably missed some other family events that you would probably want to attend because you were out there building your business.
Yeah, definitely. For the past, I want to say 4 New Years, I spent my New Year's sitting down there writing my goals or going over my books because tax season was around the corner, and all that kind of stuff. All that definitely came into play, and it was definitely sacrifices and things. But see, the word entrepreneur is now glamorized, marketed, right? So everybody wants the lifestyle and the rewards of it. Like, see, what people don't realize is if you start a business, and if your goal is to live a certain lifestyle, meaning, let's say somebody watching this wants to start a hair company, want to wholesale hair. Their goal shouldn't be to get a Mercedes and a condo. The goal should be to be the best.
Yes.
The byproduct, the reward of being the best, is going to be the Mercedes or the condo.
Wow. That makes so much sense. Because if we focus on being the best, it's just like if you look at Kobe, if you look at any of these people that have really been the top of their particular industry, look at the byproduct. The byproduct is all this crazy stuff, and stuff doesn't mean anything, especially after you go through and actually acquire. It's like stuff is stuff. But my thing is being the best. That's something that's intangible, like going up and actually being very competitive. And I know you're a very competitive person, like myself. We go to win. We don't go through and actually just kind of play games when it comes to being an entrepreneur. We go to win. And so, have you always had a competitive spirit? Have you always
I'm out to cut throats, man. I enjoy it, and I enjoy competition. I don't want to be around people who don't challenge me at all. I enjoy, one of my best friends is a car dealer, and we were in the same office building for a reason. So when he's selling a car, now I'm going to go work a little bit harder and try to outdo him. And it's friendly, but, I enjoy the competition. I thrive on it.
Exactly. And that's one thing I think being an entrepreneur, you have to have some type of competitive nature, because even if we look at people like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, these guys, they're competitive.
Those guys have killer instincts.
Like, they have it. Have it. They may look like they're soft and nerdy or whatever, but these guys have killer boss instincts.
Yeah, they do.
Wow. And that's anybody who achieved any type of level of success in whatever arena it is. But these are the things where I feel like as an entrepreneur, we have to realize it's a process. So Pat, definitely want to get back to the automotive part. You started off in your passion. You got a chance to build your business. You got a chance, because I know you're going into the coaching now, where not even you coaching and kind of teaching people the ropes. Like why now? Why now are you saying, you know what, hey, this is something that I feel that I've mastered. I think I can go through and help out other people with that as well.
Well, because I mean, I knew all the mistakes I made. I see a lot of people come. I've seen a lot of people come in and completely just run themselves out of business. And just lose all their money and, you know, mess up. So I wish there was somebody that could sit there and give me this, you know, A through Z. I wish there was someone like that, but there wasn't. And, you know, this car business is a very dirty game. The other dealers or your competition is going to try to stick you everywhere they possibly can. Because then at the end of the day, they want the car. They want to sell it. They want to make the money. So do you. So for me, I'm to a point where I'm comfortable with. I'm expanding to a different level in the car game. Going into buy here, pay here, instead of just flipping units now. So for me, it's a little bit different. I can afford to show somebody how to flip cars.
Yes. And Pat, so because do you have like a bachelor's degree in something when it comes to business, or because a lot of people think that you have to have the bachelor's in business, the MBA to go through and actually run a business?
I went to college and went for 1 day.
Wow. 1 day.
1 day. 1 day. Just literally sat in class for 1 day. And then I would just go to school every day to walk around campus and meet girls. I sold my books the same day, the first day. Like, I just didn't want. I paid for a semester, and that's how I was going to finish it out. But I was going to do other things.
Wow. But so you went to college for 1 day, but you educated. And one thing I want people to realize: college and education are two different things.
No,
you can always educate yourself. Like college is optional. And unless you want to be a physician or something like that, it may be optional in some countries, but it's optional. But education, it's not optional. If you want to succeed in anything, you have to educate yourself. You really have to educate yourself in this thing. And so you didn't take the traditional route, but you said, you know what, hey, so when you transitioned from college, had you already started your business, or what was going on in that moment?
I was flipping cars. I was already flipping cars, and then when I got out of college, after the first semester, when I stopped completely going, is when I started taking it more serious, got my license and stuff. You know, in that time though, and before that, I was always studying other people who were successful. I read, to this day, I read books. You know, I watch a lot of YouTube videos on other entrepreneurs. I still study. It's always a learning process. And, you know, business is so different than running a business, managing a business, and building a business are three separate things. You know, so I always studied and learned.
Wow. Always, so you're always a student of this. Always a student.
Always.
Wow. And so my thing is, Pat, I know a lot of people that are watching right now, these are young entrepreneurs that are just getting started. Some people are like, okay, well, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, but I don't know what product to go through and actually to go through and push. I don't know what to sell. I don't know what to do. So let's say if you had to start back over, what type of advice would you go through and give, especially being in the automotive industry? Would you recommend for individuals to go through and actually look at that industry as a serious industry, and then from there, would you recommend them to go through and kind of try it themselves, or would you recommend to go down like a blueprint?
Since I know the automotive industry, I would definitely recommend a blueprint. But with anything you do, if you don't have a natural passion for it, if you're just doing it for the money, you know, you're only gonna do so much. It depends on what your goals are, what kind of lifestyle you want to end up living, what do you want out of it, how much money you have. There's so many different factors that go into it. The quickest way to make money legally that I know of is would be automotive industry for me. And double your money in a year if you do it right. For 2 years. In worst case scenario. You know, so yeah, it just depends.
And one thing I want people to realize, because I know we're about to bring this interview to a close, but there are people out there that may be interested in actually learning the automotive industry and learning it from a small standpoint to go. They may be interested in only making a couple $1,000s a month, or maybe $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And I know it's possible to go through and do that, but I know it's possible with the right person going through and coaching you, because it's so many costly mistakes. Just like Pat said initially, going out there and learning through all the mistakes, purchasing the limits. Even if you have an automotive background, doesn't mean you have the business acumen or understand the business side of it as well. And that's why I feel that it's so important to go through and have someone to guide individuals on the way. So Pat, I know we've actually spoken, and that's something that you're passionate about. And Pat is actually a teacher. Like he may have only went one day of school, but he's a teacher, and he's actually have taught other people how to go through and build an automotive business, how to go through and become an automotive dealer, and to go and get the dealer's license, but not just and so many people hold on to a dealer's license and it's not profitable, but how to go through and do it the right way. So Pat, I want you to go through and kind of talk to those individuals that may be interested in some of the services that you have to offer. And I want people to be able to reach out to you, because I think it's so valuable right now for that 22-year-old person, that 44-year-old person, that 66-year-old person that's saying, you know what, hey, I have a passion for automotives and I want to go through and actually capitalize on this. So what would you say to them? How would you tell them to get started? How would you go through and have them reach out to you? And what value do you think that you can go through and bring to their life as far as being connected with you?
Well, what I normally do with the students is I walk them through it step by step. Everything from getting your license, getting your insurance, getting your bond, how to not pay $3,500 for your bond and just pay $600. Pretty much step by step, like who's going to do your paperwork software, and then the actual buying of cars, how to buy, how to know what to look for, where to buy it from, who you're going to use to transport these cars. If God forbid you need a paint job, this is who you should go to. I literally step by step, everything you can think of, I cover, and then I take them to auction and I show them how to buy cars, which ones to go after, how to look at that car and know how much you should pay, how much you should sell it for. Everything, like everything, literally 1 through 10. Like step by step, I walk them through everything.
And that's why I want people to understand that when you have a step by step and somebody is willing to go through and hold your hand through the process, that's invaluable. That's how you build a successful business and scale it in record time. That's when you take the shortcut. That's the cheat sheet that people are looking for to go and understand. There's still a lot of work that you have to put in and some investments and time you have to put in, but having someone who's already been down that path, you can avoid a lot of the costly mistakes that other people have made along the way. And I want people to go through and reach out to you, Pat, because this is something that I've seen in action. And I purchased several cars from Pat, and I understand his process, and I understand the character that's behind him as well. And I see the passion that he has for helping people. And I really want people to reach out. And I'm not just anybody, I want serious people who say, you know what, I really want to go through and make 2017 a remarkable year. And Pat, just honestly speaking, if someone is as passionate, and I know everything is based on their work ethic, but let's say if they're passionate about this, and let's say if they really submit to the process and understanding it, do you still believe it's time in 2017 for them to go through and really close it out really good, whatever their variation of good is?
I've had a guy who started in February. He's got his license. He's making about $2-3 grand a month part time. He has a job.
Wow. And
pretty much he follows what I showed him. He's making $2-3 grand a month, and he's using $5,000, I think, is his bank. He does it part time. This is extra income.
Is he a mechanic? Is he a mechanic?
No.
Wow.
No. What does he do? I believe he works. I believe he works at Home Depot, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. So, but that's when you have systems in place. That's when systems in place and people go through and submit to the systems, not to go through and change the system, not to go through and say, you know what, hey, I have 20 years as a mechanic, I know how to do it this way. But to go through and submit to the system, submit to the process, these things can happen.
See, the thing is, there's so many different sides to this business: buying, selling, marketing, closing, managing, funds. You're the accountant. You're the salesman, you're the mechanic, you're the transporter, you're playing all these different roles. And, I learned how to juggle them all, but I also learned how to outsource them.
Wow.
And learn how to play off each other.
Wow. That's crazy. Brother, you know what? I really appreciate you coming on, dropping knowledge and dropping nuggets to our audience. But I really believe that somebody, like, if you're interested in really going through and actually change your life through becoming an auto broker, really just kind of learning the process and having someone, because there's not too many people that's going to go through and walk you through the process. Anybody will go through and sell you a training course. Anybody will go through and sell you something, but somebody who you can have access to, somebody you can go through and call, somebody who you can go through and go to auctions with and things of that sort. Hey, I know no other better person than Pat right here. But Pat, brother, I really appreciate you coming on board. How can people reach out to you? Do you have email? How do you?
Best way to reach out to me is email. It's 777gamingllc@gmail.com. I'm sure you'll put it in the link.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so best way is email me. And if you have any questions or if you just have particular questions about whatever, if it's a car problem, if it's just a license, whatever, I'll answer it, to the best of my ability.
Got it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow people to go through and actually, if you don't mind, only the serious individuals, if they DM, if they contact me and request your information, because I definitely know you're a very busy man. You've run multiple businesses, not just here in the States, but I want to make sure that people go through and respect your time as well. So if they're serious about it, if they drop me a message, do you mind if I go through and connect them with you as well?
Yeah, not a problem, man. Like I said, if anybody's interested, feel free to reach out to Nard. He'll put you in touch with me.
Perfect. Well, brother, again, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. So many golden nuggets will drop, man. What's a parting piece of advice that you'll give to an entrepreneur? Like, let's say if an entrepreneur is just getting started, what advice would you give to that entrepreneur who's just getting started?
Believe you know nothing about what you're doing. No matter how much confidence you have, the first thing is first, you need to know who you are before you go try to sell somebody something. Really know who you are, know your product, understand it's going to take time, understand every day you need to ask yourself, how can you do it better? What did you learn? What mistakes did you make? Being completely honest with yourself. And I think once those little things line up, you are who you say you are, and you're doing the best of your ability in your business, and you're growing. If you grow 0.5% every day, imagine where you're going to be in 3 years.
Wow.
And another thing is have a long-term mentality. Nothing's going to happen in 6 months to a year. That's a part of the process. Some of the biggest companies in the world were built over 10-year periods of time, 17 years now. Apple is what, 30, 40 years old now? But it took that much time to grow.
Yes.
So understand it's a process. Everything you do in life is a process, and you have to learn to be willing to go through the process. Don't try to be perfect or you'll stress out, and just move. Keep it going.
Wow. Patience and action at the same time. That's what I gathered. Patience plus action.
Yeah, you need to hustle like you don't have time left, and you need to understand you got nothing but time.
I love it. Brother, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on again. I know people are going to be reaching out to you to go through and actually schedule some time to actually connect with you. Guys, hey, this is somebody not just talking to talk. Trust me, not just talking to talk, but really walking the walk. And I really want only serious individuals to go through and actually reach out, contact him. I'm giving you all access to some of my connects, some people that I'm associated with, because everyone knows that, before we get off, everyone knows that you're the average of the 5 people that's in your circle. And I like to go through and bring people that's in my circle. I don't have too many people in my circle, but I will say this man right here is one phone call away and one long conversation away as well, because these are the things where it goes through. These are the slight edge moments that actually makes a difference. The people you connect with, and if you can connect with him, I promise you, 2017 will be an incredible year. So again, Pat, thank you so much for coming on the show. Guys, you've been listening to Pat Patel, a beast when it comes to the automotive industry. Reach out to him. Pat, appreciate it, brother. And I look forward to having you back on the show, all right?
All right, man, not a problem.
Cool beans, brother.
Welcome to Project 13. Project 13 was specifically created just for you. You, the local business owner. You, the one that's wearing so many hats but mastering nothing. You, the one that may be on a limited budget, but you're willing to go through and invest in yourself now. This training course is what you need to go through and get the cutting edge tools that could be utilized in your business today to grow your business in 2017. So I want to encourage you to continue to read the information below. And then when you see that button, I want you to click on the button and sign up for Project 13. It's starting really soon and we only have limited spots available. So if you are serious about growing your business in 2017, I would encourage you to click the button, sign up, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side of Project 13 in July.